Duke Wei rolled his eyes at the little fatty. This brat delighted in the clamor and spectacle without the slightest concern. After shoving his own aged father into the pit, he even entertained the thought of leaping in himself. Duke Wei could only sigh in helpless resignation. Heavenly King Yu, Heavenly King Shi, I must trouble you both to enlighten Heavenly King Wei on the matters of our sacred cult. Qin Mu swept his gaze across the surroundings before speaking calmly. Ladies and gentlemen, dismantle this place. Leave not a single trace behind. Wei Yong and Duke Wei rose at once, only to behold shadows flickering like phantoms. In but a few breaths' time, the entire village was taken apart with immaculate precision. Planks and pillars were stacked in orderly fashion. Iron walks, kerosene, and wooden stands were gathered and stored away without the slightest disorder. Several hallmasters unfurled their enormous banners, letting them billow softly before draping them over the piles of timber and beams. When the banners were drawn back with a sweep, the planks and pillars had vanished as though swallowed by the void. A few more hallmasters cast their great flags over the corpses of the monks from Nantuo Monastery. When the fabric was lifted again, the bodies had disappeared without a trace. Elsewhere, other hallmasters shoveled up an entire hectare of earth, sending it into Mud River to be devoured by its surging currents. Countless tasks were executed cleanly and swiftly. In no time at all, no one would ever guess that a bustling night market had once thrived upon this ground. Disperse, Qin Mu commanded. Several hundred hallmasters and guardians bowed in unison. Some swept their massive banners and vanished in an instant. Some cloaked themselves in their garments and slipped away. Others merged into the darkness or beat upon their flower drums as they departed. A handful pushed their single-wheel carts into the night. Soon, the lively marketplace of moments ago had sunk into pitch-black stillness. Only Qin Mu, Wei Yong, Duke Wei, and the two heavenly kings remained. In the distance, lantern lights shimmered. That was the true night market beyond the city gates. Qin Mu rose and departed, leaving the four behind. Duke Wei had only just joined the cult. Heavenly King Yu and Heavenly King Shi needed to explain the doctrines and taboos of the Heavenly Devil cult to him, lest he commit some fatal blunder. On his way back to the city, Qin Mu slowed his steps, savoring the night market and its flower lanterns. Scholars and beauties lingered beneath the brilliant lights, forgetting the hour. Literati displayed their poetic brilliance. Martial artists demonstrated their skills. Maidens' laughter rang out from time to time. The capital truly is a place of myriad wonders, a realm befitting illustrious souls. Qin Mu felt deeply moved. Just then, goose-feather snow began to swirl down from the heavens. Sparkling flakes settled upon the shoulders of those who had forgotten to return home. Many lifted their heads to the sky, and quite a few exclaimed, "Beautiful snow!" Illuminated by the city's lanterns, the falling snow gleamed ever more brilliantly. Numerous maidens stood beneath shop eaves, stretching out their delicate hands to let the cool flakes land upon their palms. Rather than thinning the crowd, the snowfall drew even more people into the streets. It's snowing. The year's end approaches. I suppose Imperial College will soon release the scholars for New Year. I wonder whether Granny and the others have already returned to the village? From both sides of the street, stalls exhaled billowing white steam, carrying a rich and enticing fragrance. Qin Mu seated himself before one such stall and called out, "Boss, 2 bowls of minced meat noodles. Add extra chili oil." "Coming right up." Soon, 2 large bowls were set before him, each crowned with a glistening layer of crimson chili oil. Chunks of pork, 70% lean, 30% fat, floated within, accompanied by fragrant garlic shoots and leaves that enhanced the aroma. Qin Mu took a bite. The fiery heat invigorated him instantly. He had eaten but once that day and was famished. Warmth radiated from his body as he devoured the noodles in hearty mouthfuls. At that moment, a voice rang out in laughter. "Old brother Qin, I've finally found you. You promised to build me an iron shell ship. Don't think you can slip away. Boss, 4 bowls of minced meat noodles. Make them extra spicy. He'll pay." Having ordered, the man plopped down opposite Qin Mu. Qin Mu lifted his gaze and smiled. "Brother Fan Yunxiao, what brings you to the capital?" The newcomer was none other than Fire Bandit Fan Yunxiao. A knife scar ran across his left eye, though Qin Mu suspected it to be pasted on. Don't even mention it. My luck has been utterly wretched. Fan Yunxiao sighed heavily. It pains me just to speak of it. My ship fell apart mid-air, disassembling itself. Everyone aboard nearly plummeted to their deaths. I exhausted every ounce of strength catching them in the air. But I couldn't bring them to the capital afterward, so I had to compensate them a hefty sum. This morning I went to find you at Imperial College, but you weren't there, so I wandered about the capital and happened upon you here. You must build me an iron shell ship. Now that the realm is peaceful again, I'm returning to my old trade. Qin expression turned peculiar. With the world at peace, the old trade this bandit spoke of could only mean one thing. He intended to abandon righteousness and resume his life of plunder. Have you prepared enough black iron, black copper, and silver? Qin asked. And the flying ship's blueprint. Without a blueprint, forging one will not be easy. All prepared, I bribed the official registrar at the shipyard and obtained a set of flying ship blueprints. The noodles arrived. Fan Yunxiao shoveled in a large mouthful and exclaimed, "Spicy! Fragrant! I've also purchased the black iron and black copper. They're stored at a shipyard beside Mud River, outside the city. I'm bankrupt now. This iron shell ship is my only hope of earning again." Qin smiled faintly. "Very well. I'll help you complete the ship before Imperial College breaks for holiday. Come find me tomorrow." With that, he produced a great abundance coin and handed it to the stall owner. The man wiped his hands with a towel and smiled apologetically. "Guest, I don't have change for this. Do you have smaller coins?" 6 bowls cost only 30 wen. "No need for change," Qin replied. Rising to leave, Fan Yunxiao stared at his departing back and exclaimed, "How wealthy!" Qin himself remained unclear about the true value of a great abundance coin. Even at the most luxurious restaurants, a grand feast of the finest delicacies cost only a dozen or so such coins. For a humble roadside stall, a single great abundance coin was a blessing beyond measure. The next day, Fan Yunxiao arrived at Imperial College. Qin brought Hu Linger, the Dragon Qilin, and Duqian Devil King to the shipyard. Martial artists there wielded true fire to smelt black iron and true water to quench it, forging pill furnaces for flying ships. Experts in algebra measured components and assembled them with vital qi. Mighty men hammered metal. Towering giants cast molten steel. Carpenters shaved wood with sword qi. The entire shipyard resounded with fervent activity. Fan Yunxiao led them to a vast factory. Qin surveyed it. A massive furnace for smelting, irons and diamonds for forging, scaffolds, wing walls, wooden sliding rails, and piles of black iron and black copper stacked in one corner. The factory was enormous, large enough to house 6 or 7 ships. An official registrar awaited them, grumbling when he saw Fan Yunxiao. "Why only now? I'll let you use this empty hall for 10 days. After that, it's sealed. 10 days will suffice," Fan Yunxiao said with a grin, slipping a pouch of coins into the man's hand. The registrar weighed it and nodded. "For 10 days, I'll look the other way. Finish quickly. If the supervisor comes, I'll be in trouble." He departed. Fan Yunxiao turned to Qin "Old brother Qin, can you finish in 10 days? Qin studied the blueprint, marking several alterations. "Alone, it would be difficult. I require helpers. For the next few days, my helpers and I will forge your iron shell ship here. You must not enter. If you do, you'll pay the price." Fan Yunxiao, not fully understanding, nodded. "Rest assured, I'm not so curious." Qin expelled him from the factory, then instructed Hu Linger, "Call a few people. Have them enter via teleportation flag." Hu Linger departed at once. Before long, she returned. "Young master, the Naturecraft Hall Master and Carpentry Hall Master will arrive shortly." Even as she spoke, 2 immense banners materialized from thin air. Beneath each stood 100 followers of the Heavenly Devil Cult. The 2 Hall Masters had led them personally. Qin handed over the blueprint. "Can this be done in 10 days?" The Hall Masters studied it repeatedly. The Carpentry Hall Master asked, "Cult Master intends to build an iron shell ship? Then the pill furnace must blaze with fierce firepower." Qin smiled. "I have some skill in forging and can craft a furnace of great firepower. But we have only 10 days. Time is tight. We must finish within that span. Are you confident?" The Naturecraft and Carpentry Hall Masters exchanged a glance. How many ships does Cult Master wish to build? With both halls working together, we can forge 5 flying ships in 10 days. No more. Qin Mu started, muttering, "There isn't enough black iron and black copper for 5. "We have sufficient materials in our halls." Qin Mu's eyes shone. "Then we build 5! The 2 hall masters immediately departed to manage materials. 5 days passed. Fan Yunxiao came several times but dared not enter. From within came the thunderous clamor of hundreds forging in unison. He longed to look, but recalling Qin Mu's warning, he restrained himself. Heavy snow had fallen for days, blanketing the earth. The Sky Supervising Department dispatched divine arts practitioners to disperse the snow clouds above the capital, yet outside the city the snowfall remained relentless. Fan Yunxiao's curiosity gnawed at him. He scratched his cheek anxiously. After 2 more days, he could endure no longer. A quick peek shouldn't hurt. He pushed the gate open and poked his head inside. In an instant, an 8-armed, 4-faced devil god loomed before him, seizing his neck. "Brat! How dare you pry?" "Old Brother Qin, it's me, Fan Yunxiao cried out. Within the factory, over 200 heavenly devil cult disciples turned toward the disturbance. Their gazes shifted to Qin Mu. "Cult master, this man!" Fan Yunxiao's heart nearly leapt from his chest. Seeing their attire, his face changed dramatically. "Heavenly devil cult! I saw nothing! I'm blind! Where am I? Why am I here?" Qin Mu was forging pill furnaces when the commotion arose. He instructed the hall masters, "Continue. I'll handle this." The 8-armed devil god held Fan Yunxiao fast, the dragon Qilin at its side. Fan Yunxiao forced a smile. "Old Brother Qin, I wandered in accidentally. I saw nothing." "Brother Fan," Qin Mu said, raising 2 fingers with a faint smile, "I warned you not to look. Now you've placed me in a difficult position. 2 choices. You are no novice in the martial world. You know what they are." "I'm in," Fan Yunxiao declared instantly. "From today onward, I join the sacred cult." Qin Mu burst into laughter and gestured for Dutian Devil King to release him. "From today on, we are brothers." Within the Crown Prince's side palace, a scholarly middle-aged man hurried before Eternal Peace Crown Prince. "Your Highness, the Grand Preceptor is truly dead. Not a single monk remains at Nantuo Monastery. I fear they met a treacherous end. Yesterday, news arrived from Abundance Prefecture that Nantuo Monastery was annihilated. His Majesty was enraged and dispatched investigators, yet no trace was found. The people claim it was Roland's Golden Palace, so the Emperor inclines toward sending troops beyond the Great Wall after New Year." The Crown Prince's face darkened as he rose. "No trace? Or does Father simply not wish to investigate? This was clearly the work of Heavenly Devil Cult. Only the head of devils could execute such secrecy. They lost 2 heavenly kings. Revenge was inevitable. Go to Great Thunderclap Monastery. Seek an audience with Old Rulai. I must know who the new cult master of Heavenly Devil Cult is." Hands clasped behind his back, he added coldly, "Nantuo Monastery belongs to the Buddhist path. Old Rulai will not ignore this. Though the Grand Preceptor is dead, we cannot sever ties with Great Thunderclap Monastery. Old Rulai harbors dissatisfaction with the Imperial Preceptor. He will gladly assist. I must kill one to warn 100, to show the sects of the martial world that I am no useless prince. Whoever dares to touch my men shall await extermination." Translator Ninetails, Editor Dark Gem. Your Highness, Heavenly Devil Cult still stands among the 3 greatest sects. Though they have gone without a cult master for the past 40 years, they are by no means something to be taken lightly. That middle-aged man went on. For them to survive unexterminated after so many years without a cult master and still remain this formidable, it proves how tightly bound they are as one. If it were a Great Thunderclap Monastery or Dao sect, would they dare to go 40 years without a Rulai or Dao master? If your Highness underestimates Heavenly Devil Cult, you will only find yourself on the losing end. Eternal Peace Crown Prince shook his head and said, "Rest assured, I will not look down on Heavenly Devil Cult. For them to erase Grand Preceptor Sun Nantuo, the monks of Nantuo Side Palace, and Nantuo Monastery, and not let a single whisper leak to the outside world, they cannot be called weak. How could I underestimate a cult such as this?" The middle-aged man showed a puzzled expression, and Eternal Peace Crown Prince continued, "There is no need for me to strike at Heavenly Devil Cult. Dao sect, Great Thunderclap Monastery, these 2 sacred grounds bear a grudge with them far older than that of the Eternal Peace Empire. Those two sacred grounds long for nothing more than to wipe out this chief of the devil path. They simply lack the opportunity. What if the Emperor of Eternal Peace Empire no longer stood against the Sysseks? What if the Emperor of Eternal Peace Empire no longer supported Imperial Preceptor's reform? What if the Emperor of Eternal Peace Empire dismissed Imperial Preceptor? What if the Emperor of Eternal Peace Empire made the struggle between sects and countries vanish like smoke in thin air? Do you think Dao Secton Great Thunderclap Monastery would be willing to ally themselves with this emperor? Would Dao Secton Great Thunderclap Monastery be willing to support this emperor? The middle-aged man's body quivered faintly as he looked up at his superior. With eyes like deep pools, Eternal Peace Crown Prince said indifferently, "Though my father possesses great skill and strategy, he trusts Imperial Preceptor too much. With such trust, more than half the Imperial Court has fallen into his hands. The roots of our Ling family are about to be severed. Father has allowed Imperial Preceptor's power to swell. If Imperial Preceptor chooses to rebel, there will be nothing we can do. If Imperial Preceptor continues to grow like this, the world will be overturned and the dynasty will pass into other hands." His gaze turned stern as he spoke solemnly. The older generation of our Ling family, the people with lofty ideals, have all seen the first signs of this. That is why Eighth Uncle supported me. Eighth Uncle once exhorted Father, yet Father remained obstinate and chose to believe Imperial Preceptor. Eighth Uncle had no choice and placed his hopes on me to change things. He grew agitated, grief and fury surging together as he said, "Eighth Uncle was a senior of Ling family who had conquered the world alongside the ancestor. Eighth Uncle of our Eternal Peace Empire did not hesitate to shoulder the name of traitor to the country, contacting the sects of the martial world as well as officials everywhere. All of it was to pave the road for me, to drag Imperial Preceptor from his horse. What a pity it all came to nothing. He could not even keep a whole corpse after death. His head was severed by Imperial Preceptor. That wretch. And now rumors spread through every level of society, claiming he was not loyal." Tears spilled as Eternal Peace Crown Prince slammed the table hard, both eyes crimson. "I cannot watch our Ling family's country be ruined under Father's hand, even if I must become unfilial. I cannot be both loyal and filial, so I will be loyal to the Ling family. Some matters must be done. I cannot leave them undone." He paced back and forth in fierce excitement. How laughable. My brothers and sisters still drift in a muddled haze, unaware of the doom about to crash upon our Ling family. Father has already been overridden by Imperial Preceptor, and if the Ling family is driven from the throne, they will all be wiped out. I cannot allow this. I cannot let Imperial Preceptor, this devil, seize our nest. I must become the Emperor and stop all of this from coming to pass. In the shipyard, Naturecraft Hall and Carpentry Hall spent 10 days to forge 5 ships. Everyone installed the 15 pill furnaces that Qin Mu had refined and linked them to the bronze beasts. Qin Mu made small adjustments to the blueprints of the flying ships and altered certain arrangements. Each ship needed 3 pill furnaces installed. 3 bronze beasts were on every ship, 2 at the aft and 1 at the bottom. The bronze beasts' heads could swivel in all directions. After changing the flying ship's materials from wood to black iron and black copper, their weight rose exponentially. A single pill furnace was certainly not enough to lift them into the air, so Qin Mu added 2 more. Beyond that, he added another bronze beast beneath the ship that could spew fire, making the vessel less unsteady during takeoff and landing. Among the 5 iron shell ships, there were 3 large and 2 small. Though the smaller ones were not as imposing, they were complete in every detail. The guest rooms in the holds of the smaller ships also had everything that was needed. Qin Mu had his men paint wood grains onto the 5 ships, so they resembled 5 wooden flying ships. This was so they wouldn't shock everyone at a glance. Fan Yunxiao was unusually excited, circling the 5 ships again and again. "Cult Master, which ship is mine?" Qin Mu pointed to a smaller ship, and Fan Yunxiao's expression immediately soured. "Can't I get a bigger ship?" "The big ships are for transporting soldiers and waging war. Their speed isn't as great as the smaller one," Qin Mu explained. "If you want to keep being a fire bandit, it's best you choose the small one. If you want the big one, you can use it to ferry passengers, but the big ship consumes more medicinal stones. and in times of peace, you might not earn enough from fares to buy them. Fan Yunxiao hesitated for a moment. Then I shall choose the small ship. What will you use the other small ship for? Even as a small ship, it was not truly small. It was 30 yards long, 10 yards wide, 15 yards tall, and could ferry around 20 to 30 people. Qin Mu had the disciples of Heavenly Devil Cult change their clothing before steering the 3 large ships out. He then sent the smaller ship to Imperial College, saying, "It's almost New Year's. This smaller ship will be my mode of travel. Incense Master Fan, you have already entered the Bandit Hall of our sacred cult. Bandit Hall is part of our sacred cult, so I won't say more. This is a way of living for our disciples after all. You may plunder people's riches, but you cannot take their lives, nor rape them. I was from Dao sect, and though old Dao Master drove me out, we fire bandits never take people's lives, nor do we ever rape them. Don't worry. There are 360 trades, and each trade has its own master. I will definitely do my best and not let down cult masters' great hopes for me." Qin Mu was struck speechless. Only after quite a while did he wave his hand, watching Fan Yunxiao board the small ship with shining excitement. More than a dozen fire bandits strained with all their might, pushing the ship out of the factory along wooden rails. The snow outside had already stopped, yet with the biting cold, few people lingered in the shipyard. Fan Yunxiao shouted, "Light the furnace! We're taking off! This ship will be our new cloud-chasing pirate ship. We're no longer turning good. Raise the flag of our fire bandits. Beyond lies the sky and countless riches." The iron shell ship rose slowly, its speed gradually quickening. When it suddenly broke through the air, Qin Mu could hear the fire bandits wailing, so cold, Boss Fan! Don't stand on the deck! Come inside to warm up!" Qin Mu watched them depart, then returned. He brought the Dragon Qilin, Hulinger, and Dutian Devil King back to the capital. A couple days ago, heavy snow had fallen. Though it had stopped, the sky remained packed with gloomy dark clouds. No sunlight could be seen, and cold winds raged, freezing all they touched. "It's been 10 days since we last saw the sun," Hulinger said as she lifted her eyes to the heavens. She couldn't remain still in the factory, and often ran outside. Qin Mu was slightly taken aback. No sun for the past 10 days? The snow seemed heavy, but why hadn't the sun emerged even after it stopped? He didn't dwell on it. With New Year's drawing closer and closer, the capital already carried its festive flavor. Lanterns and colored banners hung everywhere. Qin Mu entered the city and immediately saw flying ships rising into the sky. Besides soldiers aboard, there were also ministers of the imperial court. He wondered why they were going up. It doesn't seem like they're going to war. Qin Mu raised his head and only saw the dozen flying ships climbing higher and higher. They went straight upward rather than in any horizontal direction, leaving him bewildered. He returned to Imperial College and saw many scholars discussing New Year's. No one spoke of why the ministers had flown into the clouds. Some scholars were also talking about the flying ship docked in front of scholars' residence. I wonder which rich son actually got a flying ship as a mode of transport. The next day, the sky was still dim and heavy. Gu Linyuan gathered all the scholars of Imperial College and announced, "The Emperor has granted a holiday for the New Year's, so all of you may return home." The whole mountain erupted into cheers. Qin Mu lifted his head and saw a few more flying ships rising into the sky, heading toward an even higher altitude. Meanwhile, on cloud-chasing pirate ship, Fan Yunxiao stood at the bow, trembling as he picked the icicle hanging from his nose and looked down. "Second brother, where are we now?" A fire bandit leaned over, identified the terrain below, and replied, "We've already reached Li River." Why is it snowing over Li River too? Fan Yunxiao was astonished. Pointing at mountains blanketed in white, he said, "That's not right." Li River sits at the southernmost edge of the southern borders. Even in the dead of winter, it's usually bare. So why has snow buried even this place this year? Most of the fire bandits climbed up from the hold and looked down, clicking their tongues in amazement. Suddenly, Fan Yunxiao's expression shifted, and he hurriedly asked, "We're thousands of miles away from the capital, right? Yet have any of you seen the sun?" The dozen bandits looked at one another, then all shook their heads. Fan Yunxiao drew in a cold breath, staring at the gloomy clouds overhead as he muttered, "A cloud covering a radius of a few thousand miles? Could this fucker be an ordinary cloud? And this snow, even the southern border is under it. This coming year may not be a year of peace, but a year of calamity, with starving people everywhere. If people starve and have nothing to eat, they will rebel. I thought I could earn a fortune during these few years of peace. Second brother, push the pill furnace's firepower to the limit. Keep heading south." A little over 2 hours later, cloud-chasing pirate ship flew out past the southern border and into the sky above the southern sea. Suddenly, a bright light ahead dazzled their eyes. When they flew closer, they found a blazing sun shining freely, illuminating the sea's surface like sapphire. Fan Yinxiao turned his head back to look and sucked in a deep breath. An incomparably ginormous gloomy cloud shrouded the entire territory of Eternal Peace Empire. In Imperial College, Qin Mu packed his luggage and prepared to return to Great Ruins when a directorate came striding over, shouting loudly, "Palace Grand E! The Emperor has ordered that all officials of 6th ranking and above must head to the Imperial Court for discussion. Anyone who disobeys will be punished." Qin Mu set his luggage down and said to Hu Linger, "You all stay here for now. I'll go to the palace and take a look." It was his first time attending the Imperial Court. When he reached the court hall, there was already a vast crowd within, thousands of officials packed together. Fortunately, the Emperor's audience hall was large enough to hold so many. Emperor Yanfeng sat upon the throne in the audience hall, worry heavy on his face. Again and again he asked, "Is Imperial Preceptor here?" When he heard that Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor still had not arrived, the worry on Emperor Yanfeng's face grew even heavier. After some time, Emperor Yanfeng cleared his throat and spoke in a resounding voice, "No need to wait for Imperial Preceptor any longer. My dear ministers, it has been over 10 days since you last saw the sun. Is that right? I too have not seen the sun for over 10 days. Not only me, the entire Eternal Peace Empire has not seen the sun for over 10 days. I have received memorials from officials across the land saying that snow is falling everywhere, from the northern desert to the southern sky, from Sunrise Island in the east to Secret Waters Pass in the west. Snow has fallen in great quantities, 6 to 7 days worth." The emperor rose from the dragon throne and pointed upward with a trembling finger. "A cloud has covered the entire territory of our Eternal Peace Empire."